back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, I'm Patty, and on Thursdays I do budget-friendly home decor. Today I'm going to share with you 4 easy fall DIYs on a budget that you are not going to want to miss. If you want to know how to make them, stick around. I'll show you how. Thanks for watching. Okay, we're going to take these Dollar Tree signs and we're going to cut them at 4 3/4 inches tall. And then we're going to cut off the little pumpkin area. I'm going to cut it at 5 3/4 inches. And then I'm going to cut a 1 inch off the top. You want your pumpkin to be centered in the center. And if you don't have a saw, you can use a utility knife, but you're going to have to cut it several times to get it to break. Okay, then after I got my pieces all cut up, I'm going to go ahead and add these little Jenga blocks to it, and that's what's going to attach the front to the sides. Just kind of center them in the center because you want a little bit of gap between the top and the bottom. Just make sure that they are all the way up against the edge. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and start attaching them. And I'm kind of only have a few little clamps, so I'm going to kind of do these in steps. So I'm just going to do one side first, clamp it, and then you could probably just take that clamp off about 3 minutes into it because that wood glue dries quick. But make sure you use wood glue on this and go ahead and clamp them. And just keep going until you completely get your box completely sealed in. Okay, then for the bottom, we're just going to take it and we're just going to put it underneath. And you're going to make sure that one side's inside, and they'll go ahead and draw a line on the opposite side, and that's where you're going to cut that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and attach it. Now, don't do what I'm doing here. I have my pumpkins right side up, and I'm gluing the bottom on. You need to turn it to the other side so your pumpkins are right side up. Mine are upside down in my box. Okay, then I'm going to attach some Jenga blocks in the middle to kind of give the bottom a little bit of support. So I'm just gluing them on the bottom and the sides. And that'll support your box. Then I'm going to go ahead and stain the whole thing, and I'm staining mine with like a special walnut color. Just stain the inside and the outside. Then I'm taking some little pumpkins that I got over at Hobby Lobby, and I'm taking the stick out of them. And then if you don't get it completely out and there's still a little bit left over, take it out to the concrete and rub on the concrete, and you can make them flat. Then I'm just going to take a little toothpick and stick it inside of it just to hold it up until I can paint them. And I'm just painting these legs with a matte black paint. These are going to be the legs for my little box. I'm just going to glue them on each side and go ahead and glue them on with some wood glue. And I didn't add hot glue at the same time, but I would go ahead and hot glue them on as well while the wood glue dries. Okay, then I'm coming back in with some burlap, and I'm going to cover up my upside down pumpkin with the burlap. And I did that on both sides. And then I'm going to come back in there with some foam, and I'm just going to make sure that it's pretty tight in the bottom of that box. So go ahead, and you might have to cut off a part of the second piece to get it pretty flush, but you want it pretty tight in there. And then I'm just taking some Spanish moss just to kind of fill in and make it lift up a little bit higher so that when you put your pumpkins and stuff in there, they set in there nicely. And I just bought a box of these pumpkins over at Hobby Lobby, and then I got the little hydrangeas on Amazon, and I'll give you the link for all that. And then I'm adding a little bit of eucalyptus too to it. But the pumpkins that I got, all of that came in one box, and they were 40% off. And then I'm taking some wire to hold them in to make them kind of stand up a little bit taller. After I got them in my box, they seem to set a little bit low, and I want them to set up a little bit higher, so I am adding some wire to the bottom of them just to set them up off the box a little bit. It gives it a little bit more dimension. And then I'm doing the same thing with my hydrangeas. And then I'm just coming back in and putting, these were in the same box with the little pumpkins, and then I'm adding some eucalyptus to it. And then I'm going to fill in with pumpkins where I have openings left. Just try to get it pretty full because it does look better if it's full. And then I put this word thankful on it. I just painted it with a moss green paint, a chalk paint, and I'm just gluing it onto the front of my box. Okay, this piece turned out amazing. All the colors were great together. Let me know in the comments which one of these you like the best. Next one, I'm going to use 4 of the Dollar Tree maple leaves, and I'm going to paint those with metallic paint. I'm using Art Deco and Folkart. I'm using a copper color, a royal ruby, a champagne gold, and an espresso brown, and I'm painting each one a different color. Next, I'm going to take the word fall. I got these letters at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to paint them with the same color paints, but one in each different color. And we're going to mix them up when we put them together. Okay, next I'm taking a 35-inch 1x2 and I am staining it with a dark walnut color. Just get it on all sides. And this is going to be the base that we attach all of our leaves and our words to. And I'm just using a rag to put this on with. Okay, next I'm taking a terracotta pot and I'm just painting it brown. Now try not to get every inch of it done. Leave a little bit of the terracotta color through it so it gives it a little bit more distressed look. And I got those at Hobby Lobby. Okay, now I'm going to assemble my leaves. I'm just going to put different color letters on different color leaves, and I'm putting them on with E6000 glue and hot glue just until they dry. Now you want to be sure if you're going to put this outside, be sure and put E6000 glue, because the hot glue, if you live in a hot area, it will melt off and your letters will fall off. Okay, once you get them all put together, then we're going to start attaching them to our pole. Just going to start right almost at the very top. It's just right down where you can't see the top of the pole. So, I mean the top of the piece of wood. And use wood glue and hot glue until it dries. And we're just going to start with this one facing straight up and down. And then the next ones we're going to kind of angle. You just want to angle it so that you don't see the piece of wood underneath it. And be sure and use the hot glue and the wood glue both. And then I'm going to put a little hot glue underneath each top part of those leaves that attach to the leaf above. Okay, this next one we're just going to angle it the opposite way. And then the last one we're going to do it opposite as well. Okay, next I'm just going to take my flower pot and I'm going to put some styrofoam in it. And I'm going to put a little bit of power grab in here to hold that that piece of wood in there. I'm going to stand it up in there, and then I'm going to sandwich it between those two pieces of styrofoam. So just push them on down in there and then go ahead and fill the rest of it up. Just cut up pieces of styrofoam and put it in there to fill it up. Okay, next I'm just going to start attaching some leaves to it and some flowers. I got these leaves off of a flower arrangement that I had, and then the pumpkins, I got those at Dollar Tree. Just kind of fill it up so you don't see anything in the bottom area. And then I'm using a few eucalyptus leaves in there as well, just to kind of dress it up a little bit. And then I came back in with some pine cones and filled those in, where I had gaps. This one turned out really good, and I went back in and added little jute ribbons where the holes were in those little maple leaves. This one, I've seen a lot of these on Pinterest. I want to try my own way on this one. I'm taking an 8-foot by 4-inch piece of dryer vent, and I'm going to make 3 pumpkins, and I'm going to tear them up. Now I'm going to start, first of all, pulling my my hose wide open. So you want to make sure it's pulled open, and I'm going to cut my first one at 2 foot. Cut around on the hose part, and then cut the wire off with wire cutters. Now you don't want to go smaller than 2 foot on the smallest one, or you will not get it together. Look how tight that was. And then I'm going to cut one at 2.5 foot and one at 3.5 foot. Okay, then when I'm getting ready to glue them together, I'm going to go ahead and take the ends and just kind of clean up everything and push it on inside there so there's nothing sticking out. And I'm just going to use hot glue and glue those together. Now that's really all it took was with hot glue. This stuff went together real easy. And keep going until you have all 3 of them done. Okay, then I'm going to paint each one of them a different color. I am using a cream color, a pumpkin color, and a moss color. And I'm just going to take them outside and spray paint them. Next, I got these leaves at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut them all off their little stems, and I'm going to glue them around. Just make sure that your top pumpkin covers the edges of them, and just kind of fill them in however many you want. And then I'm putting some Power Grab on the bottom to hold it together, and I'm putting some hot glue until it dries. And then I'm doing the same thing for this one. I'm going to fill it up with all the leaves, and then I'm going to put the top one on too and put leaves on it as well. And on this one, I got a stick outside to put down in the middle for the stem. And then I'm going to put some hot glue around that stem, and I'm going to put Spanish moss all the way around it. Okay, for the base, I'm just taking a flower pot and I'm going to paint it brown, and I'm going to leave a little bit of the terracotta color through it so it looks distressed. Okay, next I got these word grateful at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue it to my flower pot. And then I'm going to take some Spanish moss, and I'm just going to attach it all the way around the top part of this flower pot. And then I'm going to put a couple rocks in it just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my pumpkins, just glue them right on top. I really like the way this piece turned out. I am definitely putting this on my front porch for fall. Okay, for this next one, I'm using 1x3s, and I'll give you the links of those in the description below, and I'm just sanding them down. Next, I'm going to go ahead and paint the base part, and that's a 10-inch piece. And I'm just going to paint it a dark walnut. Next, I'm going to take my 3 pieces, and they're 3 different colors, and I'm going to attach Jenga blocks to the middle one, which is the longest one, and that's 27.5 inches. And I'm just putting the Jenga blocks up and down the sides on both sides of these. And you don't have to put a bunch of them, just enough where you can hold that edge over. Because these pieces are just going to barely be overlapping the middle one when we glue them on. And then I decided to come back in with a second row after I did the first row and added a second row. So you want to double up on your Jenga blocks to make this hold together well. And I'm just using wood glue to attach those. After that dries, I'm going to go ahead and start adding my pieces. So I'm going to take my one of my smaller pieces and put it over the edge, and I'm barely going over the edge on this one. So it'll still touch the piece of wood that's on the bottom, but just barely. So you'll see here in a minute where I'm going to put just a little dab of glue along the edge. And then I'm going to glue that down, and I'm going to clamp it. Just make sure that the bottom is lined up completely, because this piece is going to stand up. Okay, and after that side dries, we're going to go ahead and attach the opposite side. And again, these are 1x3s, and one of the side ones is 21.5 and the other side is 18.5. And they'll cut this wood for you at Home Depot and Lowe's. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and paint this with a pumpkin Krylon color. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach it to its base now it's completely painted. Now you're going to go ahead and center it onto your base, and I'm putting it towards the back. And then I'm going to drill a hole through my base to go through that back piece of wood just to hold this all in place. So just kind of mark where the center is, and then go ahead and drill through the center. Now you want to do a pilot hole first so that you can, when you put your screw through, it doesn't split your wood. And then you're going to do the same thing for the board that's going into. Okay, then I'm just going to go ahead and screw them together. I'm just going to screw it in there enough to where I can see the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it on. And I'm going to add some wood glue now to the bottom of both of the, all 3 of the sides before I screw that in. Okay, next I got these leaves at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to sponge them with a cream colored paint. And then I got this wire at Amazon, and it's just kind of like a vine to put on each leaf. It's a flat wire that's covered with a brown paper, and I'm just wrapping it around a 1/4 inch dowel rod, and then I'm just going to cut that in half because that's enough to do 2. And then I got those little sticks on Amazon as well, and I'm just wrapping the end of those around each one. Okay, next I'm going to attach each stick to the top of each one of those pieces of wood, and we're creating a pumpkin is what we're doing. We're making it look kind of like a pumpkin. Even though it's straight, it's still got the pumpkin theme. And I'm attaching that with wood glue and hot glue to hold it in place. Next, I got this wreath at the Dollar Tree. This is the smaller of the wreath forms, and I'm just cutting the center wire out, and I'm going to cut all the little nubs off of it. Then I'm going to split it in half, and I'm going to pull it together smaller and wire it together because I needed it to fit onto my pumpkins. And I'm just going to take wire and just start wrapping it around it. Kind of bend it to make sure it's a circle still. And then just secure it real good with the wire. Okay, next I'm going to take some jute, and I'm going to go ahead and clean up this end, put it back together, and then I'm going to wrap that jute completely around that wreath form. Now, I don't know how much jute I used to do this, but really it didn't take a lot. Okay, once I got it done, I'm going to go ahead and just cut that off and glue that down. And then I'm just going to start attaching some wheat to it. Now, I got this wheat on Amazon. I'm just kind of putting it piece by piece because I wanted to make sure I got that curve to it. And I was trying to fill it. I didn't want to hook it all together and then glue it on. I wanted to make sure that I was filling in areas that need to be filled in. So just kind of put it on there however you want to. You can decorate your wreath however you want to. This is just how I did mine. And then I got one of these little pumpkins at Dollar Tree and put on there. And then I'm just going to start filling in with some pine cones. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put my leaves onto my stems. Just kind of wrap them around the edge of it. And then you're going to go ahead and add your little vine to it. And just going to wrap it around the back part of the little stick and then just glue it in. Okay, next I'm just going to add the word blessed onto here. I'm just going to kind of glue it kind of in the middle. And I got these at Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to put a little E6000 glue on the back and some hot glue and just glue that right to my pumpkins. All right, there you go. This one turned out really good. This was a dupe that I saw on Belk for $180, and I did this for pretty cheap. If you like these kind of videos, hit like. If you want to see future videos, hit subscribe. If you want to be notified when I have another video, hit the bell. Thanks for watching.